Hi, I'm Matthew. Just another Asian guy with a British accent who happens to work at a camera shop. It's a new year, and with it will undoubtedly come new cameras and new questions, such as, is this the year full frame will finally be given to the people? Well, after a bit of treasure hunting, I think I've got an answer. Today I'm going to be having a look at one of the all-time greats, the Olympus OM-1. This happens to be the OM-1N, which was released with a redesigned film advance and could accommodate a motor drive, the easiest way to waste an entire roll of film in 10 seconds flat. The camera was designed by the famous Mitani Yoshihisa, the man behind the half-frame Olympus Pen and Olympus Pen F. It was released at a time when the Nikon F reigned supreme as far as professional SLRs went. The OM-1 was designed with a slightly different concept in mind. It went for small, compact and lightweight. It was a bit like the mirrorless of the film SLR world. With the OM-1, you get the full line of beautiful OM Seiko lenses, a maximum shutter speed of 1/1000th of a second, flash sync of 1/60th of a second, and a full-frame, high-resolution, user-replaceable sensor, a technology known as 35mm film. So I've come to the beaches of Connecticut on holiday with the OM-1. It's the middle of December and it's bloody cold here. As such, there doesn't seem to be an awful lot of people around. I've got a sneaking suspicion I'm going to be taking a bunch of photos of things that aren't people. Like any old camera from this era, it does have its quirks. For example, why is the lens release button the exact same size and shape as the aperture stop-down button? Why does the shutter still fire even when the film advance is locked? And what the hell is this? Sort of the fun of shooting something like this, learning how to work through them. The trouble with this camera is, it's an all-manual SLR. Everything you need, aperture, shutter speed, focus, it's all crammed right up here in the lens area. It was designed to keep the camera at your face, to stop you from having to mess about with a bunch of dials on top of the camera for shutter speed and exposure comp. All I find really happens though is I just spend twice as long fiddling about the twisty bits on the front of the camera, trying to get the right one. In actual practice, it's certainly not the worst. It's not quite as intuitive as the shutter speed dial on top, aperture ring on the lens, at least not for me, but still looks alright. That's one of the problems with having such a small and compact body. The ergonomics are not brilliant. What's the point then of using the OM-1 when you can have just as small of a package in any digital mirrorless? I'll tell you what, it's the Viewfinder. The size of this viewfinder is just epic. Composing through here is a totally different experience than using even the best DSLRs. Nikon D4S, Canon 1DX, they're nothing compared to the scale of this. Once you get used to the slightly cramped control layout, the OM-1 really is nice to shoot. Framing through the enormous viewfinder makes me consider the bigger picture, no pun intended. No, it doesn't feel quite as silky smooth and over-engineered as a Leica, but that's not really the point of the OM-1. There's a real rugged mechanical charm about shooting something like this. It's one of those cameras that keeps making you want to put your eye to the viewfinder, keep on shooting. As an added bonus, you get one of the best focusing systems ever invented, your eyes. In the right hands, not necessarily mine, the focus with the OM-1 is pretty much spot on. Best thing about this camera is how naturally it involves you in the shooting process. Using a big expensive DSLR. It's a bit like watching a concert at home on telly. It's quiet, comfortable, perfect. Using a camera like this though, it's like being center stage. Yeah, you might have to deal with the occasional broken string, maybe even stage fright. Well, it all goes right. It's just magical. For street photography, it's just lovely. Set the aperture to f8, work out the exposure in the sun, when there is sun, of course. And since the aperture ring is so easy to get to, being on the front of the lens and all, just drop it down a stop or two when you're in the shade, and you will love this. So there you have it, the Olympus OM-1, a true legend of a camera no matter what angle you look at it from. It's simple enough if you're just getting into film, but built to handle the rigors of professional use. It's a camera built with one thing in mind: rock solid performance.